children. Murroe Community Council would like to bring you Murroe News, keeping you up to date with what is happening in our parish. We begin our programme today with Father Simon, Chairman of Murroe Community Council at the Muintir Hall, Murroe.
I'm Father Simon Sleeman, Chairman of Murroe Community Council, and we are delighted to be associated with this wonderful initiative being spearheaded by Dennis O'Malley. And Dennis has a high pedigree when it comes to getting things done, as we know from the Marian Club, which has been in existence here for over 20 years now and still meets weekly in this hall. I'm standing in front of the Muintir Hall, which was, as you know, it's in memory of Canon Hayes. He was the founder of Muintir, and this was the first hall, as far as I know, built for the Muintir, and he was, as you know, Canon Hayes, a member of the parish. So it's very fitting that we begin off this Murroe News in this place. Now, Murroe News, we hope to be able to bring you regular updates on activities, sporting and otherwise, in the parish, so that you will know what's going on in your community. The Community Council, as you know, is made up of representatives of the parish, and we meet once a month in the hall here, particularly in the Fitzgerald room, a room which is named after a very important and significant person in the parish who did much work for it, Paddy Fitzgerald. So it's there that we meet once a month to discuss issues that are pertinent or in the parish. And indeed, if you have any concerns yourself that you want to pass on to us, we'd be happy to consider them. It's been a very busy year for the Community Council. I suppose the highlight has to have been the visit of President McAleese. She asked to come to Murroe to meet people and to see any local initiatives that were going on. We showed her the playground, and indeed in the playground she offered her husband Martin a go on one of the swings, which he declined. She then came to the hall and she made a wonderful impassioned speech in the hall, asking us to support each other in this time of difficulty in the country. The community is so important that we would support each other at every possible level. She was very gracious in her presence and met as many people as could possibly wanted to meet her and have their photograph taken with her. Every child seemed to have their birthday on that day and wanted to have a photograph taken with her as a memory. She spent well over a lot of time here. She was meant to be here just for 45 minutes, but ended up spending at least an hour and a half, and her security team said she was very happy to do so. She was welcomed by Paddy Harrigan, and she was thanked for attending by Kathleen Gunning, and then presented with a bowl in memory of her time here by Bridget Hayes, which was made by Brother Kieran in Glenstow from some of the native timber in Glenstow. The massed choir under the direction of Marion Neville sounded wonderful. I was sitting on the stage and it was a very powerful effect. And I can't remember the song that was sung. It was in Irish, and it made a huge impression on the President as one of our favourite pieces of music. And then there was a very beautiful moment when the President recognised Helen Maloney, who was playing the keyboard. She had been President McAleese's teacher when she was a young girl, and she had very fond memories of it. And as it turns out, President McAleese's husband, Martin, was also taught Helen's husband John when he was a young boy. According to coincidence that in Murroe there were two people of such significance as in her life. I suppose the second most important thing that we had happening this year was the opening of the playground, and Mr. J.P. McManus graciously came and spent the afternoon with us. Again, like President McAleese, he was very generous with his time, posing for photographs and having tea with people in Crocus. It was a very lovely afternoon, and we're delighted that the playground has been finally open, and thanks to everybody for the support that they gave to that, both financially and in every other way. We also like to thank the County Council because they have taken over the insuring of the playground, which allows it to go on. The playground has to be inspected every week, which a member of the committee has graciously agreed to do, to ensure that it's safety for the children. Mr. McManus during his visit, asked me if we had any projects that ongoing, and unfortunately I could only think of one quickly, and that was the repair the roof of the hall. So he said, look, what's that going to cost? I said, it's going to cost 80,000. And he said, well, look, I'll give you 50,000 towards projects in Murroe. You can raise the other 30 if that's what it requires. So we need to be very grateful to him for both opening the playground and for being so generous with the donation to our coffers, which are most of the time very depleted, as our financial controller Amy Burns will confirm. One other thing, we're very anxious, the Community Council, to try and collect as many of the Community Council records as are possible. There's a dearth of historical records of what's been happening overall the time the Council has been meeting. Father Ryan has graciously agreed to provide the safety storage for any records that we may have. So if any of you who see this have any records, photographs, notes, minute books, accounts over the years, we'd be very glad to hear from you and to try and make an archive of the Community Council for posterity. As I said, the hall behind me has it was painted for President McAleese's visit, at least the front and the inside, by a very energetic team of painters who I can recommend to you if you ever need a team of painters. But the issue at the moment is the roof. The roof is leaking in one or two places, and we need to do some work on that as soon as possible, hopefully before the winter comes in. So that's it from me for the moment, the Chairman of the Community Council, and I say this is a wonderful initiative, and I hope that we can bring you a regular update of what's going on in the parish at every level, from sporting to social to community alert. There are so many things going on that we need to include you in. So, for the moment, that's it from me. Goodbye.
President Michael D. Higgins was on a recent visit to Glenstall Abbey. On hearing about this programme, he had these few words of encouragement for Murroe Community Council.
I'd like to wish the Murroe News video diary every success. It's a wonderful thing to be able to stay in connection with your own place. I've often visited Murroe, usually when I was going to Glenstall, but I wish Murroe people everywhere a great experience with the video diary, and I hope it deepens their links and helps them keep their connections with their loved ones and with memories and the stories that come from their own place. Good night, Liverpool.
Councillor John Egan will now formally launch the programme.
I would like to wish Murroe Community Council the best of luck with this programme, and whether you're at the other end of the globe or just down the road, may you be connected with us and enjoy viewing the news on a regular basis, and now formally launch the programme Murroe News.
The village of Murroe has expanded and changed over recent years, but the older village street is still much the same. Here to take us on a tour of the main features is Dan Deneen of our Tidy Towns Committee.
Involved in the local Tidy Towns for over 30 years. Locally, the Tidy Towns was formed here in the 60s, initially by Canon Gilmartin and carried on by Father Kennedy. Most of the founder members are no longer with us, the one exception being Jim Collins, who still lives in the centre of the village and by the way celebrated his 91st birthday about 10 days ago. Our present team consists of 6 members as well as 2 part-time FOSS workers who should be with us until about the middle of 2012. We were awarded 9 extra marks in our 2011 inspection, which was a record. We generally get 1 or 2, but this year we were very lucky. The National Tidy Towns movement commenced in 1958, and Glenties in County Donegal were the first award winners. About 700 to 800 towns and villages take place in this competition, and the standard has soared in recent years. The Holy Rosary Church in the village, it was celebrated its centenary about 6 years ago. It was built by local labour as well as a contractor in the years 1903 and 1904. At the centenary celebration in 2004, Mrs. Bridie Taff, who was then in her 100th year, brought up the gifts to the altar unaided, and that was some achievement for a lady of 100 years. In the final hours of 1999, Marie Landers, the then sacristan at the church, planted an oak tree. This was followed by the planting of another oak tree in the first hour of the year 2000 by our parish priest, Father Tom Ryan, also on the church grounds. During January 2000, the Reverend Michael Nuttall, rector in Abington, planted a third oak tree at the entrance to Father Ryan's house. The village pump, one of the many such pumps scattered throughout the countryside, which was put in place so that families could avail of clean drinking water, which was so important for healthy living. With the introduction of electricity in the 50s, when people pumped water directly to their kitchens and toilets, the pump like this became outdated. It's now an amenity part of our village. As a meeting place, the village pump had no equal, where stories, news and gossip were exchanged. A plaque to commemorate two of our deceased Tidy Towns members was erected on the little wall at the pump, and these both were cousins. They passed away in the same year, and the following year we unveiled this plaque, which is very appropriately placed in my estimation. Okay. Our present national school was built in 1968 by Franklin contractors from Drumkeene. Several extensions have been added over the last 15 years. This present school replaced the old two-storey building at the other end of the village. The demolition of this old building is much regretted by many of the past pupils. In Father Mark Tierney's book, Murroe and Boher, he refers to the first schools in the parish were built in the early 1820s. The amenity park, where I am now standing, at the entrance to the local amenity park, which consists of 12 acres covered by trees, various ages and various sizes. The park was kindly handed over to the then Community Council by the Abbot and monks of Glenstall Abbey. Some repairs to the surrounding stone walls were undertaken under a FOSS scheme, and a half-mile of path was constructed. The park is open at all times. Oak, ash, beech, sycamore, yew and Sitka spruce and Douglas fir are the main trees to be found. And the bird life consists of blackbirds, thrush, wren, robin, crow, magpie and pigeon. At present, a local student on transition year is undertaking a weekly survey of the flora and fauna of the park, and we are looking forward to the results. The forge. Most villages throughout the country have at least one forge. Murroe is no exception. But the difference about this is that our forge looks very well. It's very impressive, and its horseshoe-type entrance is a special feature. This was a very busy place of work up until about the mid-60s, when horses were slowly replaced by the tractor for cultivation and cartage purposes. The Maguire family ran this forge, where locals, as well as the Barrington estate, availed of this facility. Overhanging the forge is a large chestnut tree, which is appropriate when one takes into account how this tree got its name. At leaf fall, pick up the leaves that are attached to a little twig. Note the base of this twig where it is attached to the branch. It's horseshoe shaped. And look closer, you will find 7 indentations depicting the 7 nails that the farrier puts in place to keep the shoe on the horse. Minton Natira Hall, or the Canon Hayes Memorial Hall as it is known locally, was the first Minton Natira Hall in the country. Canon Hayes, who was born in 1878 and died in 1957, was born in Murroe and was the founder of Minton Natira, which happened in 1937. And Muintir na Tíre is the forerunner of the present parish council organisation, which is formed nationwide. This hall happens to be a listed building. The Tocan Kill, this is private property and is very much part of the village, especially in the 70s, 80s and 90s when we had Irish nights there, which consisted of dancing, song and music. Locals as well as the visitors to the thatched cottages at the time were patronised these events, and they took place generally in the months of June, July and August, and again around Christmas and Easter time. Many young people at the time became interested in Irish dance, song and music. The cup of tea which was served with the brown bread during the interval was much appreciated by one and all. The Harty Park. This Harty Park was purchased by Canon Gilmartin and Tom Ransford from Joe Ryan in around 1950. The new park was blessed and opened on the 30th of May 1957, and it allegedly had cost £3,000 at the time. Changing rooms and showers were added onto this building in the 80s and 90s. The post office, or to be more exact, the post offices, because the old and the new were side by side. This was another important meeting point in the village. The old post office served the locals well for over 100 years. In 1997, the business was moved next door and thankfully it brought the atmosphere from the old one along with it. The barracks, which is found in the centre of the village near the monument, was an RIC barracks, but it was burned down in 1920. About 6 years ago it was earmarked for closure as it was a one-man guard station. The arrival of 7 new housing estates consisting of almost 400 dwellings gave the powers that be a good reason to do a U-turn on the barrack closure. The monument. This is the main feature in the village, and it is central and always will be central in our village. This is in memory of all those who died during the troubled times in East Limerick. It was erected in 1923 and was blessed by Dr. Harty, Archbishop of Cashel and Emily. Dr. Harty was a native of this parish, and the local GA Park in the village is dedicated to his memory. The Munster College Senior Hurling Competition is played annually for Harty Cup, which is presented by the same Dr. Harty. The thatched cottages. These were built in the early 70s as holiday homes. Families from home and abroad used these especially during the summer months and at Easter and Christmas times. They are now in private ownership, and most of them are still thatched roof, and that's a feature of the place.
Recently, a concert was held in the chapel of Glenstall Abbey to raise funds for the hall repairs in Murroe. And now we have an excerpt from the concert. The Murroe Church Senior Choir singing the African folk song Kumbaya and Vivaldi's Gloria. Soccer Club is one of the most active clubs in the parish. Now to tell us about the dressing room extension is Noel Regan, the club PRO.
In 1996, really the affairs of the club took on a new meaning. We formed a new committee in the club, and it was decided that we would purchase our own facilities and try and develop change rooms and facilities that would suit basically the people who are coming up in the area and the growing population. The primary aim, as I said, was to purchase a suitable plot of land. It was imperative, we felt, that we purchase our own grounds, especially coming into the 21st century with so many clubs in the area, so many children in the area needing the facilities of the club. There was a lot of hard work and fundraising for this, and it was finally realised in 2000 when we purchased our new grounds up here at Tubber in Murroe. A local man, Tommy Holmes, very kindly agreed to sell us the land, and this was vital really in the development of the club. Plans for a clubhouse were drawn up. We received grant assistance from the National Lottery, and finally in 2002 the dream became a reality when we opened our new clubhouse, which initially consisted of 2 changing rooms, a meeting room, toilet facilities and the playing pitches. The next part of the development plan was to get the second pitch here at our facility up and running, and after much hard work in drainage, levelling and landscaping, this was achieved in 2004. Another piece of the jigsaw was completed when we completed our new all-weather training area. This was opened in February 2006, and again we received some assistance from the National Lottery, but again, as with all the development that we've done here, the major part of the funds were raised locally in the area. We have been able to construct a state-of-the-art all-weather floodlit training pitch for our teams, and other groups in the area also use this. On the finance side of it, which is a part of the club that I suppose you have to be very diligent about, we have spent in excess of €500,000 on the facility here to date. €200,000 of this has come from National Lottery funding, and the balance of the funding we've raised locally. And this money primarily has come from everyone in the community, from Murroe, Bore, and actually further afield from that as well. And we would not have been able to complete the facility here without the goodwill and the generosity of the people in the area.
The Murroe Church Children's Choir put on a great show at the concert in Glenstall Abbey. Here they are singing on Tashairi, Faith as Small as a Mustard Seed, and Come Let Us Sing. Senior Citizen Social Club, the Marion Club, is 20 years in existence this year. To tell us about the club and its numerous activities is Kathleen Gunning, who is chairperson of the club for all of these 20 years. Kathleen is accompanied by Breathe Ryan, the club secretary.
The Marion Club was formed 20 years ago in 1999 by Dennis O'Malley, and at that time he set up a committee to run it, and most of us are still here. And we have a very good committee, hard-working committee, I have to say. We meet here in the Pitchinatira Hall in the Fitzgerald Room every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. They play cards, play bingo, and we have outings and different things. And unfortunately, we've lost some very good members have passed away down through the years. Very good people, but we have quite a lot of new members. And we're still going strong after 20 years. So.
This year you went to Athlone.
This year we took a two-night trip to Athlone. We hired a bus and we had 26 people with us, and we had a very enjoyable time. We visited Clonmacnoise and we visited Galway. We went for a shopping day to Galway, and the other places.
The
Antique. Yes, we took people back in time. They saw what farming was like years ago, and butter making and kitchen ware, which is different today to what they had then. And that was during this summer, and last year we went to Killarney. We stayed 2 nights and we did the Ring of Kerry.
You went to Wexford.
We went to Wexford 3 years ago, and we visited Knock on our way there, and we had our own private mass said by Father Ryan, our parish priest, who came on the outing with us. We had a trip around Eccles Island and saw all the sights that were to be seen in that local area. Very nice, very enjoyable time. We generally arrange meals during the year. We celebrate big occasions by having a meal, generally across the Crokers, which do a good deal for us, arranged by our chairperson Kathleen. She's very good at getting good deals. And in 2 weeks we're having our Christmas flower arranging. We'll probably do a basket suitable for our hall table for over the Christmas, and we had can I say our local guard tonight, or we had Garda McGlinchey tonight, who gave us a very nice reminder of what we should be aware of and how to protect ourselves and our homes from criminals. We're open to new members all of the time, and we have several ways of advertising ourselves, and we would like new members to come, even if they came for a night or two to see what we're doing, and then with the hope of coming to join us. We'd be very interested in new members. Lately we've got 2 new members.
Mass now last week, Father Ryan celebrated Mass for us for Christmas, and next week we have our Christmas party, and we have entertainment and that as well. So
we have music, yes.
Yeah. So anyone that would like to join us is welcome to come any Wednesday night theatre. Play the bingo, the cards.
To finish, we go to Father Ryan for a thought for the week.
Way back in 1970, in the early part of that year, perhaps start of January, I met a man whose name was Dennis O'Grady. Dennis at that time was heading up RTE religious programmes, and I met him in the church in Ballylanders where I was then stationed. The church in Ballylanders was a new church, different, it was a round church, and Dennis said to me that he would love to televise Mass from the church later on that year, on the 15th of August, which was the feast of Our Lady, and the church was dedicated to Our Blessed Lady. It was also a patron day in Ballylanders, and usually they built a festival around that time. So I thought to myself, I won't be able to do this, and we chatted away, and then he said to me that this will be a Eurovision Mass too, that other countries might take it, and that didn't do an awful lot for me, for my nerves. But however, I talked to the Archbishop about this, and I remember him saying to me, if you're going to lose any sleep over this, forget about it. So I decided we'd go ahead, and we had the Mass on the 15th of August 1970. And it went off very well. The only thing about that day, it spilled rain all day. Now that's 41 years ago, and time passes very quickly, and here we are today, bringing you the news and the happenings back in our parish in Murroe, Boher. I have to say, I feel very proud that we have people back there with foresight and ingenuity and brains to be able to do this, and I applaud them for that. So, with time passing quickly, and I hear people now and again talking about what's going to happen in 2013, 2014, 2050. And I say to myself, my God, I'll be dead probably in 2030, well certainly in 2040. You see, once we get on a bit in years, we begin to worry a little bit about perhaps death and the fact that we've just maybe a few more years left. And that can be worrying for some. Indeed, we all think about it. So people wonder, will God be good to me when I'm called from this life? Will he be forgiving? So today I bring you good news that our God is a loving, forgiving, compassionate God who wants all of us to be saved. And we have proof of that love of God with Jesus dying on the cross for all of us. And we know from the scripture that he wants all of us to be saved, and that he's merciful and forgiving. The Lord is kind, full of forgiveness, slow to anger, and rich in mercy. Now I'm reminded of the little story, lovely story, telling about two little boys, brothers, 8 and 10-year-olds, who almost every day visited their granny who lived across the haggard from them. And one day, lovely day in summer, they were passing the window of her little house, and there she was, walking up and down her kitchen floor, reading her prayer book. And the young boy said to his older brother, "What's Granny doing?" And the older boy replied, "She's preparing for her finals." And that's what all of us are doing, preparing for our finals. I suppose thanking God each day and saying the prayers and doing the best we can. And we have been told, do not be afraid. There's no need to worry. I'd just like to finish with this little prayer, which I think is very helpful. Do not fear what may happen tomorrow. The same loving Father who cares for you today will care for you tomorrow and every day. Either he will shield you from suffering, or he will give you unfailing strength to bear it. Be at peace then, and put aside all anxious thoughts and happenings. Why spoil the present moment with anxiety? 90% of the things we worry about never occur anyway. Granted, we all have to plan for the future, but we can learn to do that without needless anxiety. God bless you all.